Let's head into the past with Jean-Claude Van Damme to save the present. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone's doing well out there. And today we're going to do another Jean-Claude Van Damme film, and this one's called Timecop. Matter of fact, this movie is based on a Dark Horse comic book series, and I don't know how closely this relates to the comic book. If you do know that, leave a comment down below how faithful it is. I'd greatly appreciate that. I've never read the comic book. And this movie came out September 16th of 1994. It's an hour and 39 minutes long. It's rated R, had a budget of $27 million, and upon release it made 44 in America and 101 total worldwide. This was the second Van Damme film that made over $100 million, and this was the first collaboration with Van Damme and Peter Hyams. Peter Hyams is his own cinematographer, and he directed this film. And they would have go on a year later to do Sudden Death together. That was released a year laar, which I reviewed a few weeks ago. If you want to see, I reviewed it, scroll on down, you'll find that. I did a bunch of Van Damme reviews. You can just keep on scrolling, you'll find those reviews if you'll go through my review list. Now, Jean-Claude Van Damme in this film plays Walker. He's a DC police officer in the beginning of the film. Mia Sara plays his wife, Melissa. Now, Mia Sara is most famous for Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's where most people recognize her. Ron Silver plays Senator McComb. He is our main bad guy, and the great Bruce McGill is in here as Van Damme's character's boss slash best friend. Now, Van Damme in '93 was just coming off of Nowhere to Run and Hard Target with John Woo. And this year, in the same year of '94, he had Street Fighter come out. And in '95, he had Sudden Death come out. And then after that, that's when Van Damme started sneaking into direct-to-video hell. Although he has one more film after this one that I'm going to review. That one is Maximum Risk. And then after that, besides maybe Expendables 2 eventually, that's pretty much for my Van Damme reviews, because I think I did them all ahead. I think I've done them all that went theatrical so far. And this movie is actually, like Hard Target was, this one's also produced by Sam Raimi and Rob Tapert, which I found very interesting. Now, in the beginning of the film, we see 1800s Georgia during the Civil War. We see Confederate soldiers, and they're transporting gold. It's pouring down rain, or in horse and buggy. I think there's 5 or 6 of them, and there's a guy standing in the middle of this dirt road, obviously, and it's pouring out, and they come to a stop, and he goes, "Can I please, will you hand over your gold?" And they kind of laugh him off, and they're like, "Sir, there's 5 or 6 of us, there's one of you. I will kill you if I have to. Please kindly step off the road." And the guy pushes them, and the Confederate soldiers are getting ready to do something. The guy pulls out 2 machine guns and kills everybody. And that grabs you right away. It's like, what is going on? Now, the movie's called Timecop, so you know time travel has something to do with it. And then we're introduced to, we see this Senate subcommittee, and we're introduced to Senator McComb. He's in on this. He's a young senator in D.C. And this gentleman from a law enforcement agency comes in and says, "I'm definitely going to be asking you for some money here, but I've got to explain the situation to you." And they want to create this new law enforcement agency, that time cops, basically, that will go back in time to stop crimes people are committing from the present. And they kind of laugh him off at first, and he explains that they've already had sensed activity back from people traveling back in time because somebody else has this technology. That gets their attention. We're introduced to Van Damme and his wife at the mall. They have a brief interaction there, and then they go home right away. We see a sex scene right out of the gate, like in the first 10-15 minutes of the film. And we kind of find out that Van Damme has applied for a new position, time cop. And his wife's not totally thrilled, and she has some news for him, but she doesn't tell him, and he gets a phone call, and he has to go to work. It's raining out, it's middle of the night. He goes to leave, and he gets jumped by these thugs who happen to go in and kill his wife by blowing up the house. And then we fast forward in time, and we see Van Damme performing his duties, going back in time to stop people that went back in time from the present to commit crimes. And in the first 10 minutes of the film, they set up the rules of their time travel for this film. Now, time travel films are always difficult because you can get into a lot of plot holes really fast. Now, this film does have a few. I'm not really going to dwell on those at all. Obviously, the most well-known time travel film is Back to the Future, which does a pretty good job explaining everything and sticking to the rules, and I love that film. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. This film does a fairly good job. They set it up right away, and then they don't dwell on the rules as much. You get them out of the way quick, and then we go on with our plot line. And they explain in the beginning where you want to use this to go back in time to kill Hitler, because it would have severe ramifications for the future after that point in time. So you can use it to go back and stop crimes from people in the present that are going back to try to alter the present, but you don't want to go back and try to alter history. That's a big no-no. That's what they set up. And pretty much right away, Walker realizes that Senator McComb is up to no good. That he is sending goons into the past to do things to raise money for him for his presidential campaign in the present. And he goes to his best friend about it. He goes, look, you need proof. If you don't have any proof, there's not much we can do. We'll be laughed at, and we'll probably lose our jobs. And before they know it, shady things start happening. I'm going to fast forward a lot through the plot here. Then towards the end, he gets sent back to 94 to stop something to take place, and he realizes McComb is there with a bunch of his goons at this trigger point in time, so he could take over the company that developed the time travel stuff to make it easier on him and what he's trying to do. And while Van Damme's in 94, he also realized he could try to save his wife from her death. And pretty much what happens is we get action scene after action scene, some suspenseful scenes, all handled nicely by Peter Hyams, by the way, nicely shot, nicely staged. Except for some scenes are a little too darkly lit. I've noticed that with Peter Hyams. He's a good, solid director, no doubt. But even like in a film called like End of Days, which is a big budget action film with Schwarzenegger, there's some scenes in that film that are a little too darkly lit. And we get some of that in this film, but overall he does a really nice job. And at the end, Van Damme's character does save his wife from being killed. And he stops McComb in a scene that the CGI doesn't really hold up that well. Basically, they set it up, the rules are two of the same people cannot occupy the same space and time. So if you would touch yourself in the past, you would die. You would cease to exist from that point forward. And that's how he kills Senator McComb again. He pushes him into his other self, and they kind of meld together in this not very good CGI does not hold up at all. That's one thing that's kind of a negative about this film. This was 1993, 94 CGI, so it does not look good in today's eyes at all. Some of the effects do not hold up. Most of the effects they pull off really well, and they still hold up, but there's moments of CGI that just look awful. But it's a movie from 94, so that could be forgiven as long as everything else works pretty good. And overall, everything else works pretty good. I mean, Walker saves the day. His wife is alive in the present when he goes back. His son's alive because his wife was pregnant at that time, but didn't tell him that night. And they get to live happily ever after, and they stop this thing from happening with Senator McComb. So everything does work out in the end. Overall, watching it last night for the first time in a while. I watched this on Blu-ray. And it holds up really well. It's actually a really well done Van Damme film. A very entertaining one. It's only an hour and 39 minutes long. It moves at a quick pace. There's not a lot of fat here. Like I said, they set up the time travel rules in the first 10 minutes, and then we're off with the plot. And it moves pretty quick till the end. And I appreciate about that. This is actually one of Van Damme's, after watching again, there's a lot of Van Damme films I like, but this is actually one of his better ones. It's well thought out. Some of the stuff, some of the science fiction element of it is well done. Yes, there's some plot holes. You can poke some holes in it for sure. But overall, it's a really well done time travel action film. And it does earn its rated R for sure. Other than that, I don't think I have much else. This was the first collaboration between Peter Hyams and Van Damme. They'd go on to do Sudden Death the next year. And in 2013, they got together again for Enemies Closer. I've never seen that film as a direct-to-video film. But yeah, overall, this is a very solid Van Damme film. Obviously, Van Damme's acting, you could take him or leave him in some scenes. He's charming, but he's not the greatest actor. We're here to see him kick ass, and he does do that. The rest of the actors around him are doing really good work. Ron Silver plays a terrific scumbag senator, and Bruce McGill's always a pleasure to be on screen. He's always solid as that character actor that everybody remembers and loves. And he spent years on MacGyver way back in the day, if you remember that. But yeah, overall, very solid Van Damme film. I enjoyed the hell out of it. 8 out of 10 for Timecop. Yes, 8 out of 10 for Timecop. Have you ever seen this film? Leave a comment down below, let me know. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. It's free. Join me here. Let's get my subs up to 400. I greatly appreciate that. Share this video. I hope you all have a great weekend. I'll be back next week with another review. Until then, I'm just going to leave you with bye.